Cheers, friends. This is Owning Her Seat, representing women who break through glass ceilings in culinary and hospitality. Today I'm here with Stacey West, aka Chef Sugar.
Chef Sugar. Yes.
And we are going to be discussing her journey, how she got to be where we are, and of course, as a Southern woman, this amazing pimento cheese. Thank you so much for joining me today, Chef Sugar. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
I'm so excited. So, were you always a chef? Was cooking always a part of your background? How did you become a chef?
I wasn't always a chef. I was a nurse and still am a nurse. But I've always had a desire and a love for food. So in my adult life, I applied to several culinary schools while I had my children.
Yes.
But I never could afford it. I was a single mom. I couldn't afford it. So when I got married, my second marriage.
Come on, love, for the second time. Come on, Stacey.
I got my second marriage, and when I got married the second time, and I told my husband what I wanted to do, he was like, go for it. So I started out at culinary school in New Jersey, and then we came down here, and I finished and graduated at Le Cordon Bleu. So it's been a hard journey because I worked full-time as a nurse while still going to culinary school.
And being a mom and a wife.
And a wife.
But you did it.
And still running a business.
Oh.
And it was awesome.
So, Chef Sugar, who gave you that name and how did it come to be?
My husband's daughter was getting ready to have a baby, and I did not want to be called grandma. So I'm like, what would I want to be called if I'm in the grocery store and kids are calling out? I'm like, I definitely don't want to be called grandma. So she came up with the name Sugar. So when I graduated culinary school, it became Chef Sugar.
I love it. Okay, so we know that you went to Chef Le Cordon Bleu,
yes,
and you studied under Chef Hillary. How did that impact your culinary journey?
Chef Hillary's a genius. The things that I learned from her as a female chef and a chef were just absolutely amazing. Her flavor profiles, how she ran her kitchen, how she saw food, and how she worked with food had an impact on how I see food and how I combine flavor profiles.
I love that. Okay, so I know that you were running a restaurant and on local Powder Springs, yes, with your son Quentin.
Yes.
I love a family-owned business. Tell me what's the difference? Because when you have your own business and then you start a product line, what was the difference, especially when you bring working with your son into the play? What kind of journey was that?
Working with family is rough, because especially my son, sometimes he forgets. But it's amazing having him because he's worked in the industry for 8 or 9 years. So I had just graduated from culinary school, so I was much more greener, and he was much more in tune to taste and what's going on out there in the culinary field. So he helped me to come up with dishes. Our latest one that we came up with is our Pesto and Feta, and he is the creator of that amazing flavor of Pesto and Feta. And when people think of Pesto and Feta, they say Pesto and Feta pimento cheese, absolutely amazing.
Sounds delicious.
It is.
So with your pimento cheese, I mean,
Yes.
I love pimento cheese. It's on my charcuterie boards. Good. I love a fried green tomato, yes, with pimento cheese, bacon on a nice sourdough or a, yes, brioche. You know what? I'm Southern. What was the difference? How was it starting over because products are very different from restaurants and restaurants very different from nursing. Yes. How was it launching your own product?
It was new. It was exciting. It was scary. When we first started, we were doing a brunch at a local restaurant that was closed on Sundays. So he let us come in and did a brunch. Nice. And one of the menu items was pimento cheese and grits. So that kind of took off, and people wanted more of where can we find you? And we even had a customer say, listen, Powder Springs is doing a farmer's market. Why don't you try it out? Because I had never thought of that. I'm like, we're in the restaurant industry, and that's where I want to stay.
Right.
But we started the farmer's market. At that time, we had 2 varieties, our original and our jalapeno. So I took 15 of each. I'm like, let's see. We took it, sold out. And I was like, well, maybe this could be something. I mean, people were absolutely amazed by the taste. At that time, of course, you could sample. So people were amazed by it. They said, this is the best pimento cheese we've ever tasted. So we kept coming back, kept selling out, and then we ventured into a bigger farmer's market, Marietta Square Farmer's Market. And we went there, I think we had like 30 or 40 of each variety, and we sold out. And we were like, this is something that we can do. But at the time, I was still working as a nurse. So we juggled doing the farmer's markets and me still working as a nurse. Yeah. So I kind of had to switch schedules sometimes so that I can be at the farmer's market. But it's been an amazing journey, and now I do this full time, and it's absolutely amazing.
So your story is incredible. What would you tell someone right now who is at their job right now, listening to it, they hate it, and they want to sit up here and follow your footsteps? Entrepreneurship, what advice or steps would you give them that worked for you to be full-time?
I would say for me is to follow your dream. I've always loved food. I've always wanted to get into having my own business and doing my own thing with food. It's been a long journey, finally here, and hopefully venturing out to do other things. But I tell people, if you have a dream, live that dream, do that dream, don't stop. And when you're living that dream, it builds up a muscle of resilience and perseverance. So no matter what obstacles come, you can get through it if you believe in your dream. And of course, we believe in Suga's pimento cheeses, so we're not stopping.
So let's talk about these pimento cheeses.
Yes.
Okay. I know that why did you decide to launch the vegan cheese? I think that's amazing, especially because I think it's so important right now because there's so many different dietary restrictions going on right now. So I love how you're not only keeping it classic for girls like me, because you know I love a good truffle, but also for those with dietary restrictions.
Well, we came up with the vegans because when we first started out, we only had the dairy variety. But customers would come up to me and say, I'm vegan, do you have anything? And I'm like, no. So we worked on that. We worked with using different cheeses, vegan cheeses, and a lot of them we didn't like. But the one that we use now has an amazing flavor to it. And it's going to melt for you just like regular cheese. And it's just awesome to be able to give people an option. Like, listen, hey, you're a Southern girl, you can have it dairy or you can have it vegan. Whatever you like.
I love it. What is your favorite recipe to create with your cheeses? Vegan recipe and non-vegan recipe?
The flatbreads.
I love good flatbread.
We do a vegan flatbread. Of course, our one that we launched not long ago is our vegan pesto. Our pesto and feta flatbread with artichokes, red onion, and asparagus. And then our vegan option, we also do a flatbread using our original, and we put sauteed mushrooms and spinach on it. So however you like it. If you like it vegan, if you don't like it vegan, Suga's pimento cheeses can fit you everywhere you go. It can take up a dish no matter what you decide to do.
I love that. Okay, so I know entrepreneurship is so hard and, balancing everything, being a mother, being a wife, entrepreneur. How do you balance all of it?
It's very hard. It's very hard to balance all of it because a lot of times the entrepreneurship, the business requires so much of your attention.
For sure.
So sometimes things lax. Sometimes I'm in tears because I can't get pulled everywhere and it's like, oh Lord, how am I going to do this? Everybody wants your attention. But you just keep moving forward. You keep moving forward and you get done what you can get done, and what you can't get done, you just say, hey, I have to catch you next time.
I love that. Okay, so what do we have today to eat on? Because I'm so excited.
Well,
I love to eat.
What we have today, for all of you Southerners, is our roasted poblano, pimento cheese, deviled eggs topped with a bacon jam.
Oh, I love a good bacon jam.
And we know how the South loves their deviled eggs.
And our bacon.
So you get the taste of both worlds. And we use our creamy roasted poblano. And that creamy roasted poblano with eggs or chicken is absolutely amazing.
I love it. Okay, can I try it?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I've been dying.
Please. Watch the expression, everyone.
It's good. Savory with a hint of sweet. With a little spice in the back. It's perfect.
Yes.
Want to have another one for y'all? Don't judge me.
No judgment zone. No judgment, especially when it comes to pimento cheese.
It's so good, flavorful. It I love the bacon because it's just a hint of sweetness.
It's just a hint of sweetness.
But it's so savory. A little bit of that spice. But the bacon really takes it over the edge.
Yep.
So what's next for Chef Suga?
What's next is we are hopefully going to launch our prepackaged food products using pimento cheese.
Oh,
I mean, nobody has that. Who's doing pimento cheese?
Nobody.
Cheese prepackaged products. So we do a risotto. We do a Alfredo. We also are doing a scampi. So we are just looking just to take it to the top with our pimento cheeses.
I love that. So we know entrepreneurship is hard. What gets you through those tough days when things don't go the way you expect or everything is falling apart? What keeps you going and creative?
Faith, knowing that, listen, if God gave me this, then I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let go. So it's tough. I make it through that day, and I hope and I look for the next day because I know the next day will be a little brighter.
I love this.
It always turns out. I mean, it's difficult. I cry. But the next day comes and I make it.
I love that. Okay, so it's our dessert category. What is your favorite dessert to prepare and your favorite dessert to devour?
I love cheesecake.
Really?
I love cheesecake. Cheesecake is my favorite dessert.
Okay.
I love cheesecake, and I love, I can't forget, our smoked Gouda pimento cheese cookies.
Really? How?
Is the best to devour.
Really?
Yes, and that's using our smoked Gouda, and we turn it into a cookie, and we have a strawberry and pineapple jam that we put in the center. So you get that savory yet sweet flavor.
I love this. Okay, so where can we find you? Where can we purchase this?
Okay, so where you can find us, we're in a lot of farmers markets, but if you go onto our website, www.sugarsfood.com, you'll see all the stores that we're in, and you'll see the locations of all the markets that we're at too.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much. How can we follow you? What is your Instagram,
Our Instagram and our Facebook is Suga's Pimento Cheeses.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Chef Suga, for joining me today. Make sure you guys follow her. And thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of Owning Her Seat. Until next time.